Welcome to my new video about Sagittarius season 2024. I'm Verena Borell. I work with evolutionary astrology, my intuitive guidance, and I'm also a student of somatic experiencing. And today I want to talk about the energies and topics of Sagittarius season. And I really want to dive more into the energies and topics and less talk about the exact astrological dates and aspects, but just that there is a lot of movement and a lot of backward movement in the field right now. So we have Mars, who is stationing retrograde for his long retrograde phase on December 7th in 6-degree Leo. I have written a blog article about Mars and Mars retrograde. I can link the blog article. It's in German and in English language below the video. We also have Mercury retrograde for almost the whole time of Sagittarius season. So Mercury went retrograde on November 26th in 22 degrees Sagittarius, and Mercury stations direct on December 15th in 6 degrees Sagittarius. And we have a new moon in Sagittarius that was on December 1st. So it's actually today when I'm recording the video, it's December 2nd. So you have already experienced the new moon. It was in 9 degrees Sagittarius, and we will have the Gemini full moon this year on December 15th in 23:43 Gemini. So 23 degree, 43 minutes Gemini. And what I'm feeling and what I feel called to share with you is that we are really reaching a new level of truth, freedom, and expansion. And what I experience personally, and I have a lot of Gemini and Sagittarius in my chart, over the new moon, there is this huge need and this huge urge for self-liberation and for allowing myself more freedom. And I have the feeling that there is a new layer and a new level of expansion and freedom that we are now capable of, because we have already worked so much on all of these topics around allowing yourself to be yourself, allowing yourself to showing up in a more authentic way. And there is the whole Sagittarius season, I feel that there is a next layer of release and the reinvention of ourselves. So Pluto is now in Aquarius. They will not go back into Capricorn. And we have all of this new energy that is in the field. And maybe you ask yourself, or you feel like confronted by life with this question, is this really true for me? So maybe there are certain beliefs that you have about your own, yourself, or that you have about how your life should look or should work or not work. And maybe there are certain structures and rules that can come from the outside or that come from yourself, that you have created yourself. And maybe they are no longer fitting for the new authentic you, for the new true you. And maybe you ask yourself, is this really true for me? Is this really working for me? So we have during Sagittarius season, Saturn in Pisces, square in a square to the Sun in Sagittarius and to all of the Sagittarius planets, to Mercury, etc. And I think there is this huge ask. What rules do I still follow? Are they still true? I have moved and changed so much over the last months, over the summer. What is no longer true for me? What is kind of limiting me? And I think that I'm actually a huge fan of limits in a way, because I think our society often pushes us into crossing our own boundaries and going over our own limits. I'm not talking about that. I'm a very big fan of, and this is my somatic experiencing education. I'm a very big fan of really knowing what is your capacity and moving within your capacity. But I'm talking about the limits where you feel like, wow, I cannot breathe any longer when I stay in this. I cannot breathe any longer. I cannot be myself when I continue to follow these rules and to follow these beliefs about myself or about my life. I really need to free myself. And maybe you are now more ready to expand. Maybe you feel now more ready to free yourself. Maybe now it is time to allow for more pleasure and joy and freedom. Or maybe you feel not ready. And it is important to cultivate more in a sense of safety and security. So I cannot answer this question for you. And even though it might sound like when I say there is a new layer of truth, a new layer of expansion, a new layer of freedom, this might sound like it's an external thing. It is not. It is really an internal thing right now. It comes from the inside, and then the ripple effect will go into your life, will go into your structures, will go into how you work, how you relate to others, how you show up how you are being in service to your clients, to the world, how you show up with your family, etc. But now we are doing the internal work. It will then have its ripple effects, but now we are really called to do the internal work and to allow ourselves to think into a new direction. Sagittarius is so much about what is your direction? What is your path? What is your journey? Are you on your way? Or do you need to change now direction? Because if you continue to go this path, you cannot stay true to yourself. And the funny thing is that often we need to change the route, we need to change the direction when we really follow our intuition and not what maybe society thinks is the way or is the right way. And I really invite you to ask yourself, is it true? Does it feel true what you know and believe about yourself and the world? And I think there is a lot of confusion in the field. And there is a lot of just knowing what you are no longer willing to accept. Knowing that I cannot live like that any longer. I cannot stay in this pattern. I cannot move into this direction. I cannot follow these rules and beliefs that I have about myself. I cannot follow my own self-expectations. But maybe you have no idea which one is the next direction, which one is the new direction, which one is actually the next step. And I mean, we have Sagittarius, we are in Sagittarius season, and the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, and Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini. And Jupiter retrograde in Gemini will also build the second exact square to Saturn in Pisces. The last square will be in 2025 in Cancer and Aries, but I don't want to confuse you. Jupiter will build a square to Saturn on December 24th on Christmas. So there might be a lot of confusion and you might not have an answer yet. And I think especially during the Gemini full moon, we will learn. With Gemini, we always learn. We will learn to have many questions and to ask many questions ourselves and others and the world, and maybe not having an answer yet, or not having a logical answer. And I think there's one thing when we see Sagittarius season 2024 in the bigger context, next year, 2025, two of the biggest topics that I feel, and you can buy my Astrology of 2024 video course. It's in German language, where I really go deep into all of the topics. But to just, yeah, to let you know, two of the biggest topics for next year are self-trust and independence to build equal relationships. And I think that, yeah, we are in a preparation for that. So you need to be comfortable with not having the answers, and really looking inside of yourself to strengthen your self-trust and also to strengthen your independence. Because I think, and don't get me wrong, I mean independence in the sense of you need to be independent so that you can relate on an equal basis without codependencies. And I think that the challenge right now is that we try to look outside for the answer. So you don't know where to go. You maybe have a crisis in consciousness, a crisis in meaning. You don't know, does that make sense? Because I release these old versions of myself and of my life that do no longer feel true. But who am I when I release all of these layers? Why I'm here? What is my mission? What is my calling? What does it make sense to even wake up in the morning and what I'm actually doing here? So you can feel really confused. Maybe you feel a little bit confused about a certain area in your life, maybe in your relationships or in your work, or maybe you have this huge crisis of I have actually no idea who I am and why I'm here. What is the meaning of my life? The big Sagittarius question. What is the meaning of my life? When I release these old versions that do no longer fit and that do no longer feel true to me. But when I release all of that and I feel it's enough, I can no longer live that. But what is the meaning of my life? What is my calling? And maybe it's not so big and not so deep for you, then the question, how can I do it differently? Or how can I do it in a way that feels good and feels aligned and feels truthful? And I think there is this challenge that we feel, yeah, that we wanna, because it feels so uncomfortable to sit with these questions and to not having an answer, that you might want to look outside and might follow others or ask others or look for the answers outside, to feel less confused. And I think that, yes, it is very important to stay open. And I say something about staying open in a minute. And also, nobody can give you the answer, because the answer is within yourself, within your guidance, within your intuition, within the wisdom that comes through you and that is inside of you. And I think it's about following the signs and being open to the signs, following the breadcrumbs, following your guidance, following the signs that your spirit guides show you. Be open to, especially around the full moon in Gemini, be open to possibilities that come into your field that you have maybe not even knew that they exist. People maybe say something to you or offering something to you, and you actually have not, it was not on your horizon that this can happen or that this opportunity even exists. So be open, but then tune into yourself and feel what feels right for you. And if it is now the time to make a new move, or is it maybe the time to just feel into the idea and be okay with not making a decision right now. Because from my experience, it feels so uncomfortable to sit with questions, and our human brain, because I mean, our whole nervous system wants to keep us safe, and our human brain really wants to take a decision so that there is certainty. And it is so uncomfortable to feel with uncertainty that we often take a decision just to move out of this uncertainty. And then it is sometimes, I would say there are no wrong decisions, because we experience with every decision we have an experience, and in Sagittarius we learn that every experience leads to more knowledge and to more wisdom. But I would say that maybe it is more fruitful right now for you to really make yourself as comfortable as possible with sitting with the question and trusting that if you really tune into yourself and follow your spirit guides and be open for signs, but not immediately running into a direction, but really feeling into it and seeing the opportunities and feeling into the possibilities and maybe trying something new. But I would say it's really important to give yourself time, because the answers will come. And you will know, and I cannot tell you what to do and how that feels, but you will feel in your body if this is the decision and this is the next step for you. And take your time. I mean, Mercury will go direct um, on December 15th, right on the day of the full moon in Gemini. But Mars will still be retrograde for a longer time. So I think there is something about managing your fire energy. So we have this big fire trine in the field over the new moon, and there is a lot of movement, as I said. But I think it's really the key right now is to allow yourself time and space and to make whatever you need to feel secure and safe and nourished, enough safe. I know that we can never feel, yeah, safety can be a very triggering word, but that you can take care for yourself while you are maybe in a place of, I know what I no longer want, but I cannot see clearly the next steps, or cannot see, maybe I can see the next step, but I cannot see the way or the direction. Um, and I think, yeah, as I said, it's really important to be open for new possibilities, but also that it is okay to not know the exact path. Um, what have I have to look in my notes. Oh yeah, there might be also this topic that you feel a lot of unworthiness or even shame and guilt, because you are no longer following the rules, and you are no longer maybe fulfilling your own self expectations. So that can feel really uncomfortable too. So that you realize, okay, this really limits me. I have to break free. I can no longer live like that. And then all of the shame and guilt comes, because often the rules that we give ourselves are internalized from society, from our upbringing, etc. So there can be a lot of shame and guilt. What happens, or even fear? What happens when you break the rules? What happens when you paint outside the form? What happens when you are a rebel and are no longer doing what you're used to do or serving in a way that you are used to serve? And will your clients be disappointed? Will your partner be disappointed? Will your family be disappointed? And what will happen when you release these old beliefs? What will happen? Will you be safe? Will you earn money when you drop certain things? Will you get love? So there is a lot of not knowing and a lot of feelings of shame, guilt, uncertainty, maybe unworthiness. And I think that it is so, so important to really be with that. I feel that especially with Venus and Capricorn, to be with that and to really be loving and kind with yourself and maybe this fearful part of you that is afraid of disappointing others. And I also see that when Venus moves into Aquarius on December 7th, I think there is a lot of, yeah, my worth is really independent from the judgment of others. And I feel worthy because I am. And the more authentic I am, the more I can build relationships and also serve in a way that is really authentic. And the more I am me and I allow myself this new freedom, the more I will magnetize people, opportunities that are really in alignment with who I am. So I think it is really, really important that we allow ourselves more time and space in this Sagittarius season. We are in an intense energy of release and of restructuring and of reinvention. And now it is really more important than ever to listen to your intuition and to listen to your body, to trust in your natural cycles, and to allow yourself to slow down, even though and because you feel so much pressure to know the answer, to move. Because I think there is a lot of energy that, and if you feel like you want to move and you want to have the answer, and if maybe you have the answer, then now it's your time to move. But if you don't have the answer and if you feel a little bit confused, then don't pressure yourself into something. Be okay with feeling into it. Be okay with maybe not doing the sprint, but just go one step after another. And following the breadcrumbs, follow the signs. But I think that I feel like what I really want to share is that allow yourself time and space, that everything unfolds and everything will unfold, maybe not in the time that you think is correct or that you want things to unfold, but in a pace that is actually in alignment with your evolution. And really tune inwards instead of trying to figuring it out by doing so many things. So you can ask yourself, what is in alignment for you? What does feel true to you? What do you need to change in order to expand? What does expansion and freedom mean for you? The freedom to be yourself. How does that feel in your body? To ask you this question. Does it feel dangerous? Does it feel juicy? So what feels natural and what is not natural for you? Where do you have certain beliefs that have been true in the past, but that are no longer true? And what is the next layer of freedom and expansion and authenticity and truth that you can, or what is the next level of authenticity and truth and expansion and freedom that you can grow and go into? And what layer do you need to release in order to do so? What are the fears that are showing up? And be gentle with you, because we are in such an intense period of time. So I really want to say to you and to say to myself, allow yourself time and space and nourishment and nurturing and self-care. Because as I said, next year will be very much about self-trust and independence. And we are preparing for this. Yeah, allow yourself to change your mind. This is maybe another thing. What I said, what is now true for you? And it's okay that this is another thing than 2 months ago. And where is it important to stay open to new opportunities that come into the field so that you can feel into them? And as I said, it's an inward process. It's an inward process to tune into yourself, to free yourself from the inside. And then so much more liberation and freedom and expansion is coming in your external world. But first, it's really about tuning inward and seeing where are the fears, what are the fears, what are maybe the needs too that you need to have a look at so that you can make the next steps. Because often there is a part of us that really wants to keep us safe and is really afraid of this next step, because then maybe this part thinks, okay, we cannot survive when we are doing this because we will not earn enough money, we will not be loved by others, we will, etc. You can feel into what fear is there for you. Okay, I hope this little inspiration helped you. I think in Capricorn season, it's then really about strengthening our sense of being our own authority and really deepening all of what we have learned about ourselves and what levels of expansion we maybe experienced during Sagittarius season, more into the body and into the earth, and really, yeah, strengthening our self-trust. But now it's really about listening what is true for you, listening what is no longer true for you, and be comfortable with not knowing yet what the answer is. And really, I think it's sometimes good to be loving and also have a good sense of humor, where we still limit ourselves in a way that is just ridiculous, because we have taken over so many conditioning and beliefs from our ancestors, from the past, from our parents, from society. So yeah, maybe have a good laugh and a good cry about that, and then see where you can release, reinvent, and rest. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I have actually something to share. If you need a very, very beautiful companion on your way of self-liberation and freedom and the return to your true nature and to rewild your soul, then I have a very nice companion for you. Asteroid Goddess Diana. Asteroid Goddess Diana is, I would say, one of my she is maybe the most favorite asteroid goddesses for me personally. You can see her in the picture that I painted and behind me. And 2 years ago, no, actually 3 years ago, in 2021, I dove deep into the research on asteroid goddess Diana, and I have written a book about Diana, which is around 70 pages long. And as a matter of fact, you find a lot of information about the mythology and even books about the mythology and about the archetype of Diana, Artemis. But you do not find any books or information, or not so much, about asteroid goddess Diana. So I have written a book about her archetype and mythology, but also about Diana as an asteroid. And a huge part of the book is Diana through the 12 astrological signs, through the houses. And so it's a really in-depth work. And I also added to the book poems and intuitive texts about Diana. And in autumn this year, I decided to release this book as an ebook, and you can now buy it as an ebook package. So you get the ebook, and then you get additional materials like meditation and a Pinterest mood board and a playlist. And you can buy this ebook, the Diana ebook package, via my website. I put the link in the description of the video. And there's also a free workshop that I give or have given, dependent on when you are watching the video. I give a free workshop in German language about Diana on December 3rd, and in English language on December 4th. And when you now watch the video after these dates, you can still get access to the free introductory workshop on Diana via the link below the video. And I invite you to watch the free introductory workshop, to learn more about Diana, to buy my ebook package, and when you are an astrologer, you can integrate asteroid Diana in your work with birth charts, with transit charts. And if you are an astro lover, or if you are a goddess lover, I recommend you everything about Diana for your personal work and for your personal journey with goddesses. Or maybe you give circles or ceremonies for women or for people, and you want to work with the free and untamed spirit of Diana, because Diana really brings you back to your free, untamed nature. And she's all about rewilding yourself and your soul and becoming more and more authentic and true. Yeah. Of course, if you speak German, or if you understand German, I highly recommend you my Astrology of 2025 video course. This year I went wild because there's so much. The next year is such a potent year, and there's so much going on. And I created 10 videos. I think it's it's almost 6 hours video lectures. All videos are there as an audio lecture too, so you can watch it or you can listen it like podcast. And it comes with a workbook. And I created 10 videos about all important energies and topics and transits of 2025. And you can buy the video course. You gain immediately access to all of the materials in the second when you buy the course. So yeah, I highly recommend you my Astrology of 2025 video course. Have an expansive, and also restful Sagittarius season. Don't pressure yourself. Don't feel pressures. Allow yourself time and space. Allow yourself to be courageous and brave. And also, the most courageous thing we can do is to actually rest and listen to our heart and release what we are no longer willing to accept and what we are no longer feeling called to do and called to live. Okay, if you like this video, I would love if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Verena Borell Astrology, and if you share this video with a friend, with your community. If you want to get weekly energy updates, weekly somatic inspiration, I usually pair the transits, the astrology with somatic practices from somatic experiencing so that you can really take your body with you in this intense phase of evolution that we are all in. If you want to have this on a weekly basis and for free, subscribe to my Solar and Soma newsletter. The link is in the video description. And yeah, if you want to book a one-on-one session, I combine astrology and somatic experiencing in my sessions and in my guidance. And I have a lot of other courses, workshops that you can have access to immediately or that are upcoming in the next years. Just check out my website and subscribe to my newsletter. Thank you so much for watching and all the love to you.